Okay. We are on, and it better stay on this time, because if it doesn't, I'm going to be pissed, going to be angry.
I'm a little, I'll heel turn inbound.
I do want to apologize to the audience. We recorded a full preview prediction sort of fantasy booking thing on NJPW, Dominion.
NJPW?
Yes, New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion.
I would like to apologize for his apology, because his apology is bad and he's been drinking a lot.
We'll neither confirm nor deny these rumors of intoxication. I enjoy a certain level of mysticism about me. A certain unknown quality.
I've only had half a bottle of gin, and I don't know what your problem is.
You were drinking gin. I think that's pretty much the problem right there.
I had like a bunch of limes already cut up, and I kind of wanted gin. Like, I wanted a gin and tonic.
I suppose that's a reasonable excuse for the matter.
And by gin and tonic, I mean like big boy gin and tonic. You know what I mean?
It means a lot of gin and not a lot of tonic.
No. 50-50 at best.
50-50 at best. So, we did the preview video. It didn't get uploaded because I did not press the record button. Now we are bringing you the post breakdown. We just finished watching it like it's probably been about a half hour since the actual match ended.
Yeah, half hour, 20 minutes.
Yeah, we surfed around the kind of post-match press conference deal they had. Some interesting stuff there, which we'll touch on, but as per usual, not a ton. Tonight's fantasy score was Byron 6, Mike 4.
Woo!
I bow to the current champion of fantasy prediction booking on the Squared Circle podcast, Mr. Byron.
If you can just imagine my beard blowing in the wind with Queen, in the background singing, that's what I look like right now.
You are currently the king jerk, top of the jerk file.
I'm the biggest jerk.
You're the biggest jerk in the building.
That's going to be it from now on. Whoever gets over on predictions will be biggest jerk until next time.
My favorite match was the Time Splitter versus Time Bomb, and Byron went with the main event, I do believe.
Oh, main event fucking took it all out. Like, I felt like I wrestled that match. That main event was the best. Like, okay, so, and I joked about this several times while we're watching it, but it's not really a joke. Like, do you think they're going to give this another 6 stars, or is this like 5 stars because Meltzer kind of doesn't want to do? Like, does he back down and not do another 6 stars, or is this another 6-star match? Like, in your opinion,
I would say, in my opinion, this is a 6-star match, because I thought this was better than their other match. So if their other match is a 6-star match, this is definitely a 6-star match.
I'm not disagreeing at all. This match, I don't know what these two dudes have as far as chemistry. I don't know how you catch lightning in a bottle twice, but they've done it. If Meltzer doesn't give them a 6-star for this, I need some justification. And I don't know what that justification, like, if his justification is too many drop kicks, I disagree, because I don't think that was a crutch. I think that was a motif. That was a thing that they did deliberately. That was a thing that Okada can hit in his sleep, because he's 6.5 feet tall. Well, 6'4". He's 6'4", and he can reach. He's the Japanese Barry Windham. He can reach the ropes from wherever. And if your criticism is too many drop kicks, your criticism is invalid, in my opinion.
I'm not going to say that there's no valid criticism for this match, because there might be something, but I felt a lot better about this match than I did about their 6-star match, because the 6-star match, honestly, I didn't feel was a 6-star match. Like, full disclosure, I enjoyed it. It was really good, but there were things about it that bugged me from a psychological level. about the match. Not the action itself. The action itself was absolutely fantastic. But there were psychological elements of the match I did not like. The ring psychology in it. This match didn't have that problem. And I think replicated a lot of the action to a very high degree. So I think it's a better match.
I think that this match was a legitimate second chapter. And it's going to take me a while to process exactly all of the elements to that, because we just watched the match and Mio's had a lot to drink, so I'm not going to ask him to try and bounce that off me. Obviously, I haven't been drinking. I'm very sober. But it's this has been that match to me hits all of the notes you need for a second part in the story. Just kind of to jump around and to cover all the bases for this. After the match, they had their little intermission thing. They went to the press conference. Cody Rhodes came out and challenged Okada to a match in Long Beach because they're going to do their first shows ever their first shows ever outside of Japan. So if they're going to go with Cody versus Okada in America, I know they're going to do I think it's 2 shows with ROH or is PWG. They're going to go with 2 co-promoted shows and 2 solo shows, I think. And if they're going to go with Cody versus Okada and then right away do Omega versus Okada again, I think that's a massive mistake. But I also really want to see it.
I think you have to go with somewhat of Cody Rhodes to strike with the iron's hot. I mean, like it or not, yes, Kenny Omega is a Canadian wrestler, so he's known North America. He is English speaking, etc. So he makes great, he'll be great on TV there. The problem is that Cody Rhodes is by far your biggest name. He's the one that was in the World Wrestling Federation / World Wrestling Entertainment. He is the known name. Don't get me wrong, PWG and ROH fans are going to mark out heavy for Omega. But with Cody Rhodes, I think you have a chance of getting even to an audience that would not have thought of going to a New Japan show before that time.
Yes.
So I think doing Cody versus Okada does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and looking back on things, when we were doing predictions, had I been able to Sherlock Holmes the shit out of this and go, oh yeah, North America, who's the biggest North American star they have on their roster? Cody Rhodes. Well, then Cody Rhodes should totally go over Big Mike, and then Cody Rhodes should totally challenge for the title. That should be a thing. But since I'm not entirely pro wrestling Sherlock Holmes, and because New Japan is possibly the best booking on the planet, period, I didn't see that coming. So I would agree. I mean, at least you have, if you want to cement Okada as a global superstar, you have to put him over the biggest North American name on your roster on North American soil. That's just a thing you have to do.
Yep, 100% agree with that. And that's why doing it with Cody as opposed to and delaying the Omega feud it's a good idea from a lot of directions. It has some downsides because the iron is really hot right now and you are cooling it down, but you get the Cody thing. There's a lot of steam on Cody as well. He's doing fantastic work, the best work of his career, without a doubt. And you put them together, it gets the exposure that you don't have with Omega versus Okada yet. So let's get into the matches. We had the Young Bucks, not the Young Bucks. We will have the Young Bucks later, but the Young Lions match that tends to start off the show. 6-man tag match. We were both wrong because we both had David Finlay's team going over. Losing, pardon me. And David Finlay got the win with a stunner on, I honestly don't know if it was Yagi or Kawada.
I think whichever one of the two is the slimmer of the two.
I think it was Yagi, but I'm not 100% certain.
We're
by any
totally
means.
not trying to be racist right now, but we don't remember which one it was.
No, like
it wasn't Kitamura.
Like full disclosure, for the most part, I don't know enough about the Young Lions. I don't see enough of them to really know, and by definition, they don't really have a character to them.
Yeah, I mean, other than Kitamura.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, there's also the guy who has some Samoan blood in him. That also the other big dude. Like he stands out.
He was on Finley's team.
No. He wasn't in this match. There's another dude.
Right. Yeah, there's another dude.
Yeah, there's another dude that he goes by the one name as opposed to the double name. Like it's whatever. He definitely looks like he has some Polynesian, Samoan, Tongan sort of deal to him. I recognize him. I recognize Kitamura, and I recognize Oka, who's the big guy on Finley's team. Like they stand out, but the other guys do definitely have a tendency to be kind of similar in hair color. There's no difference in their real character or move set or build. So yeah, they do blend together. And I hope that they do differentiate themselves eventually, but as Young Lions, that's kind of the job of the Young Lion, is to kind of blend in with the other Young Lions. So
yeah, their job is to be the enhancement talent / workers, and the exception to this particular match was the aforementioned Kitamura. Kitamura is built like a brick shithouse and is huge and muscular. And the reason we predicted against David Finley's team is because Kitamura was leading the other team. And I thought for sure that this was going to be the beginning of Kitamura's big push outside of being a Young Lion. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they didn't do that. Well, they did a little bit. They continually push him a little bit here, a little bit there. But I thought this was going to be the beginning of the big push. And that's not the truth yet. Additionally, I thought they owed him a little because he had to work with Suzuki on the last, I think it was on Dantaku, and
Suzuki cold clocked him.
Suzuki pulled some bullshit around ringside with him, and really took some liberties, and then on his way back up the ramp, he just straight up fucking punched him right in the jaw. I don't know if it was a knockout punch or if Kitamura just decided to sell like a motherfucker, but I don't really care either way. It was Suzuki being a giant shithead, and he's a piece of garbage. And
if it was like an intended spot, he took it too far.
Yeah,
so, like best case scenario is he did a spot that shouldn't have been that stiff, too stiff.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, he punched a dude who wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. I've heard some stories, one of them directly from Don Callis, which I guess you can take one way or the other with any grains of salt you want. But apparently he's done this a bunch of times in the past with Young Lions, where he wasn't satisfied with how they were selling something, so he just straight up fucking murked them, blindsided them, did whatever he wanted to do. And in Japan, it's one of those, if you think you're a tough guy in Japan, you're going to get crushed because you just have to take that stuff and move on. And it's beyond swallowing your pride. It's a whole other level, and that's what's expected of you, and you do your thing. And Kitamura did that, and I think they fucking owe him for that. Mm-hmm. But that's just, I guess, my opinion.
Well, even beyond the owing him, I mean, even as a Young Lion, he stands out as a physical specimen.
Oh, he's going to be the best.
Like there's money in him. Trust us on that.
There's going to be a lot of guys I say are the best on this card, and he's one of those guys.
And at 31 years of age, now would be a good time to have him break out of the Young Lion spot.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to have a properly long career. Moving on to the next one, both of us got this right, so we were both on the board as Tiger Mask W, Togi Makabe, and Yuji Nagata defeated Tenkozi, Yushin Thunder Liger, and Manabu Nakanishi.
The key to this is
8-man tag.
Liger. The key to this is Liger. Liger always loses in these matches.
In fairness, Tiger Mask usually is on his team and thus usually also loses.
True.
That being said, the only guy under 40 in this entire thing was Kota Ibushi, who is Tiger Mask W. Add to that the fact that Tiger Mask W is a really, really popular TV character, and it was pretty obvious which team was going to go over here. Like, you're not really getting anything long-term out of Yushin Thunder Liger or Nakanishi at this point, who are a combined 102 years old. And then, I guess there's still something in Tenkozy, but they're like such an established tag team that I think you could have them lose like 100 matches in a row, and then they could come back and do something.
Yeah.
Like, they're that accomplished as a tag team.
Yeah, that's true. I would also say that like these mixed like giant tag matches that they're part of, you could lose those all you want, and it's never going to stay in their tag credibility. Also, this started this strange motif of faces going a little heel, just a little bit. Kota Ibushi pulled some moves that the commentators put over as like not favorable for heels to do in Japan.
For faces to do, not heels.
For faces to do, yeah. So like some slight heel tactics that faces aren't really supposed to get away with in Japan. So I don't remember exactly what it was, but he pulled a couple of moves where the crowd was like, "Whoa!" And even after the match, I thought for sure, like they were making their way up the ramp, and he was still standing on the apron, and he went to do a moonsault.
Yeah, I thought he'd had a little bit of an argument with his own team at that point.
Yeah, exactly. There's a little friction, and he went to do a moonsault, and I'm like, is he? But he did not actually ambush his team. He just kind of continued to showboat a little up the ramp, which is way less subtle for Japanese heel turn booking than I'm used to. So,
just kind of an interesting thought on that is, since I don't watch the TV show, I have no idea. But is there a possibility that Tiger Mask W in the TV show is doing a heel turn or some kind of darker storyline?
It's possible, but from what I've been understanding from the commentators, and that's all I have to go off of, is no. Like, that'd be like asking the kid from Pokemon to join the bad team. I don't know the names of any of these people, so I'm just using that.
You mean Ash Ketchum in Pokemon? Sure,
Ketchup Boy. Yeah, if you ask Ketchup Boy to join the Crazy Hair Twins, I mean that would be. Sure. Yeah. There you go.
I did watch Pokemon as a child.
There you go. If you wanted Ketchup Boy to join Rocket Team, then that would be basically what this is, and I don't think that's the case.
Okay, so it was just kind of a fan theory to throw out there.
It's possible.
Then we had the gauntlet match between the various trios teams, basically. So if you're a major faction in New Japan, you had a team in this, basically. Is what it comes down to.
Yep.
So we opened up with Bullet Club versus Chaos, and pretty good here. Yeah, your standard stuff, really. Ishii being a badass, Yoshihashi doing some hot stuff, and Yanu untying the ring post cover to leave the spirit of him in the rest of the match because it remained uncovered the entire time. And then the Bullet Club team was Bad Luck Fale, Hangman Page, and Tokyo Pimp. The only thing really interesting to really note was,
might I just interject and highlight the quality of the talent brought down to the ring by Mr.
Tokyo Pimp.
Tucker. Yes. That was some business right there.
That was, that was, yeah.
Pro tip, if you haven't seen, listen, if you're watching this, spoiler alert, too late, don't watch this with your girlfriend. Unless she's into that sort of thing.
Unless she's into little black rabbits.
In which case, watch this with your girlfriend.
Pretty much.
Were we still recording? Just, checking for a friend.
We are recording, yeah. So I will basically know two things about this match and just the general talent in it. Hangman Page is starting to grow on me. There was a time when I was really, 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 just gonna stop saying really, but like I cannot describe how anti Hangman Page I was at one point.
I could try, but I'm not going to.
And he's really growing on me. He's actually become a very effective worker, and we're going to talk about him more in the main event because there was some good stuff there. And the other thing is that the Pimp Juice DDT that Tokyo Pimp does to try to get finishes really looks really unimpressive when you realize he can do a Fisherman's Buster. Yeah. So, just saying.
Fisherman Buster is all of the things.
Yeah, just saying. Just saying. But Toru, of course, gets the pin on the Tokyo Pimp, who I guess isn't there always to eat the pins, because I guess Hangman Page could have totally also eaten the pin. But, yeah, I mean, all of these teams kind of had sort of a, if they were going to lose, there was really a proper fall guy in them. And, anyways, Bullet Club gets eliminated first, and then out comes Zack Sabre Jr. I need to actually look at his name here.
What?
It was the Suzuki Gun, Taichi, Zack Sabre Jr. and Yoshinobu Kanemaru.
Yeah, the Captain Kirk ship thing.
Again, not a ton to say. Good stuff, smooth work.
Yes, right.
These first two bits were like 6.5 minutes apiece. I mean, we're not talking about anything great. It would have overshadowed. You're given very little time. It's a gauntlet match. You're not going to get tremendously great stuff. Zack Sabre Jr. choked out Toru with the European clutch to get the elimination.
Yeah, we got some quality Yano spots, and I was happy with that. The weird thing is that Ishii was not. Ishii had some good spots as well. He did the missile headbutt here and there.
Took out Bad Luck Fale at one point.
Yep. So I mean that was cool. I always like more Yano than less Yano, but that's just my thing.
Yeah, but pretty good. Then the entrance from Taguchi Japan, Ricochet, Juice Robinson, and of course Taguchi himself is this team.
Gooch of Earl.
They did some great stuff with the baseball signs. There was a spot that I marked out for pretty hard. They had I can't remember. It was Tai Chi. They had him in the corner, and Taguchi's squatting there like a baseball catcher giving signs, and Ricochet is I guess the pitcher. I guess Juice Robinson was effectively the ball.
I noticed actually before that happened that Juice was giving baseball signs to Gooch like right away in the match. But they really played it up in this spot. Usually what happens is the thing opened up with an attempted Pearl Harbor into a triple funky weapon. If you're not familiar with that, you're wasting your life.
It's using your ass as a weapon.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to explain it. I wanted to watch the thing. But after a couple of spots, they got one guy in the corner. And usually what they do is they run nonstop funky weapon attacks, a.k.a. hip attacks, a.k.a. ass spots. And Gooch just kind of sat there in front of him like a catcher. And they were all flashing catcher signs, catcher pitcher signs, baseball, back and forth. And eventually they agreed on one. And didn't you say like Juice like waved a couple off?
Yeah, he did the pitcher head shake like no, not that one.
So yeah, Juice waved a couple off, which was hilarious. And then they finally decided on one, which was of course the cannonball.
Cannonball.
And Juice just like sprinted like what was it? Oh, Ricochet pretended to wind up and throw a pitch, and Juice became the ball and just charged across to do the cannonball to the guy in the corner. That was fantastic.
Before that, they also did the whole third baseman go home thing where Ricochet and Juice Robinson are just doing just kind of like beating up in the corner on whoever. I think it was Tai Chi, but it might have been Kanemaru. I
think it was Kanemaru.
Okay, it was not Zack Sabre Jr. I remember this much, but no. And Taguchi's being the third baseman, going, "Go home, go home, go home," and then he gives Juice the stop sign and the funky weapons into the corner.
Yeah.
So good comedy stuff. We get the end with Juice hitting Pulp Friction on Tai Chi, which was surprising. I didn't think Tai Chi would eat the pin, to be honest.
Well, he is a pretty boy.
I thought Kanemaru would.
Kanemaru not pretty enough.
But Suzuki Gun, Pearl Harbor's Taguchi Japan, and Juice Robinson gets stuck in a submission hold with Zack Sabre Jr. Well, everything is evil. Los Ingobernables de Japón. The champions make their way to the ring for the final part of the gauntlet. We both had Ingobernables retaining, and they eventually did. The interesting thing was that Bushi got the pinfall on Taguchi, and I did not expect that, and I should have thought about that because that comes into play later. Because, I mean, Bushi's technically really the fall guy for that team. Sonata's kind of the big future guy. Well, not necessarily future guy, because I think he's kind of a bit old to be the prospect per se. But he's kind of there.
Are you saying that Sonata's a B+ player?
I would say A-. I think B+ is like bottom of New Japan's roster, to be honest.
That equals the truth.
But usually Sonata or Evil will get the pin, is my point. And the fact that Bushi got the pin, I think, played into some things later. It was a good match. I think with a gauntlet, you're never going to have anything fantastic because you kind of get your stuff in and then get the match done quick. Because, I mean, basically what we had here was 4 matches, which had to take place in, I got the Wikipedia here open, so 23, about 40 minutes. So about 10 minutes apiece, which makes it a little bit difficult to really develop a particularly great story beyond the gauntlet itself. So Ingobernables retain the titles, and at this point we are tied at 2. We then go into the match that gave Byron the lead, the Young Bucks versus Roppongi Vice for the IWGP junior heavyweight titles of a tag team variety.
Let me just be clear by saying that I was actually cheering for Roppongi Vice the whole time.
Yeah, but you picked the Young Bucks to win. I picked Roppongi Vice to win.
Because I, sir, do not predict with my heart.
Neither do I. I thought there was a lot of logic to give Roppongi Vice the win.
But I would also like to state for the fact that I have a lot of sarcasm in my body. Indeed.
Your body is actually 95% sarcasm.
Correct.
So that's why you weigh like 1,000 pounds.
Whoa. That's probably not inaccurate.
That's not a fat joke. That's just how much sarcasm he has.
My bones are dense.
This was pretty good. Simple storyline here is I want to say continuing storyline of Rocky Romero being the weak link of Roppongi Vice to a degree. At least what Don Callis tries to tell you anyways.
Yeah.
They took out Rocky Romero with 2 apron power bombs, if I recall correctly. And
yeah, at least 2.
That kept him on the outside for a long, long time, which made Beretta have to do a lot of work.
They did an apron powerbomb to 2 ring post rockers, basically slamming his spine into the ring post twice, followed by another apron bomb, which, took him out of the match for the majority of the time.
Yeah. He did eventually end up getting back into the match because Beretta at this point was actually holding his own 1v2.
Awesome.
And then one of the Young Bucks, I believe it was Matt.
It was the one that does the flippy stuff.
It was the darker haired of the 2.
That would be Matt, yes.
Yes. Matt Jackson catches Rocky Romero and like literally runs him up the ramp and power bombs him into the ramp to take him out even further.
Yeah, we're going to take you further away from the match and also fuck you up and thank you and good night.
Got some great stuff here. Beretta sells like, frankly, no one's business. He's fantastic at it. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept it going for a while, but eventually the Young Bucks got the win by pinning Rocky Romero. I believe they pinned Romero, didn't they not?
They did, but before that, they actually had a great spot where Romero finally got back into the match as Beretta set up the strong zero. They hit the strong zero, but Nick Jackson did, what was it? Like
it was a swanton.
Swanton bomb?
Yeah, it was a swanton bomb to break up the pin.
That's ridiculous. That's like using an M16 to kill a fucking fly.
This was the match that really got me into the whole show. Like, up until this point, things have been fine, but nothing great. Nothing that I was going to remember for a particularly long period of time. This was the match, though. The Young Bucks and Roppongi Vice have had a lot of good matches, and this was, I dare say, this was the best one they've had.
Yeah, I would say so. I think this is the first one we've seen that it's been just them one-on-one, though. Because I think it's been...
I think we've seen them before, but yeah, a lot of multi-team matches have tended to happen. But really good stuff, and the storyline, if they wish to go with it, with Romero and Beretta kind of breaking up, with one of them turning heel because of the inequities of their team, it's there. It's not what I would do, because Rocky Romero is solidly the tag team specialist at this point of his career. I mean, he is not especially young, 34 years old, not ancient by any means, but he's old enough that really we know what he is. And really his success has been with tag teams, with Alex Kozlov and Forever Hooligans, Davey Richards and Rocky Romero in the North, or not Rocky Romero, Roddy Strong in the No Remorse Corps. Of course, Roppongi Vice, also the Cuban Pitbulls with Ricky Reyes. Like, these have been the best things he has done. And to try to do a singles run with him, I think, would be a mistake. Because it's been tried a couple of times with not no success. Like, he can hold his own, but it's not been the money that you may otherwise think it should be.
He was Black Tiger. I mean, that they don't put a mask on you for no reason.
Mm.
But yeah, no, I would honestly, there's no reason to break up this tag team. What I would do, because they teased the last, I think it was Dontaku, the last one we watched. They teased some tension between the two, and then this time Rocky gets taken out and Trent has to carry the majority of the match, which he did magnificently. I think that I hope that they are doing this just to, we've had some problems, we've had differences, but we're still boys, we're still a goddamn great team, and, the bond gets stronger and they just go on to do better things, because how many times has this team held the IWGP titles, the junior titles? Like 3? I think at least 3.
Championship accomplishments for Beretta in New Japan 4 times. Four-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. They also won the Super Juniors Tag Tournament in 2016.
What's the point breaking them up? There's 0 point. Which means if they were in WWE, they'd be broken up immediately.
Also, to be honest, the junior tag team division is kind of shallow in New Japan.
True, but
there's not a lot of great. No, I'm adding that to the reasons to keep them together.
Yeah.
There's not really a ton of great tag team talent below that, because when they've done they've done a lot of the multi-tag matches, and they've had like Will Ospreay in there with Ricochet and stuff, but I don't know if you really can plan on Will Ospreay being there long term, like forever, because I think there's going to be interest from WWE in him at some point, and we also know that Ricochet is headed to WWE. So even the kind of thrown together tag teams you have are not long-term investments. I can't name another long-term junior heavyweight tag team title champions that they have, or a team that they have really to invest in, except for, I guess, Suzuki Gun has one. Kanemaru and can't remember if it was Taichi or Desperado that he won the title with, but they won it. So there's them kind of, but they're not amazing wrestlers by any means. I think it's kind of a waste to have them be like the other kind of featured. It was Taichi, not Desperado. To have them as the other kind of featured team in that group. Like, they're fine for like a brief title run or something, but you don't really have anyone else for the Young Bucks to feud with on a long-term basis. So breaking them up, I struggle to see the big benefit to it.
Yeah.
So moving on, then we had the heavyweight titles. War Machine defending against Guerrillas of Destiny. I believe that War Machine was going to retain. Byron had Guerrillas of Destiny, and Byron was correct.
Correct.
This was a really good match between 4 pretty big dudes. Like, Hansen's a proper big dude. Raymond Rowe and the Guerrillas are very large by independent standards, but would be kind of average-sized in WWE, so they're not huge.
And
but
also, during this entire match, I was singing Ray, Ray, Ray your boat gently down the stream.
A little bit, yeah. The Guerrillas of Destiny brought out the face paint again, so we actually had a face paint on face paint match. War Machine had some new gear, which further made me believe that they were going to win, but that was not the case. They let the Guerrillas of Destiny Guerrillas of Destiny ate most of their big stuff and figured out ways to kind of escape from it, kind of heal their way out to a degree, because the Guerrillas of Destiny are heels, and they're great at it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, a lot of swearing in this match, as per usual, because both of these teams are a little foul-mouthed.
And Mike got really drunk. We have, should we explain the New Japan drinking rules?
Yeah, explain the New Japan drinking rules.
Alright. New Japan drinking rules are, if there's a swear in English, whether it's muttered or shouted, doesn't matter. If there's a swear in English, you have to drink. If there's a compound swear, i.e. motherfucker, cocksucker, etc., drink twice, or just drink twice as much.
Mm-hmm. Take a big slug.
Didn't we come up with a new rule for just finishing your drink?
Well, the finishing the drink is if you spoil something for yourself, you have to finish your drink.
So if you're watching a New Japan show and you look something up and you spoil the results of a match, or a match that's on that card, you have to finish your alcoholic drink. That is the end of the story, bottom line. Other than that, I don't think we have any more rules.
We have had like a couple of things we've kind of fiddled around with, like since run-ins are so uncommon in New Japan, we at one point were thinking about that, but that didn't wind up sticking.
I can see that. But it has to be like, if there's a run-in, you have to drink, but it has to be a run-in. You can't have like a guy accompany another guy down to the ring and then interfere.
So like we would have had a drink during the minor spoiler, the Suzuki versus Goto match, because there was a run-in.
There was indeed.
But, for example, we would not have had to have drunk during the main event when the Young Bucks came out with Kenny Omega.
No. Or even when the rest of Bullet Club came down, spoiler alert.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to that eventually. This was really good. These two teams are great. I like them both. I hope we get more feuding, because War Machine, I do believe, owns 2 victories over Guerrillas of Destiny. So
I think so.
There is no reason for them not to get a title rematch. So that'll be fun. And great. And watching Hansen work is pretty impressive, because compared to what he looks like, he's exceptionally athletic. Like,
that dude's awesome.
Looks kind of like a fat dude, not gonna lie. I say this as a fat dude. And he can move and do some things. He does Rocky Romero's Forever spot. And doesn't do it as well as Rocky, but he's also about half the size of Rocky. So,
just to call back to the previous match, I would like to see Roppongi Vice remain together forever. But dude does the Forever spot, but he runs out of gas, which sells it even better. That Rocky Romero's really great at it. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. Then the next match was Cody Rhodes versus Michael Elgin. And Byron had Michael Elgin. I had Cody. This was my only win on the night. Yeah!
Go, Cody. Go, Cody.
As we kind of touched on, Cody Rhodes was going to win this because of the North America tour. He is their biggest North American star. They need him to win. And they let Elgin beat the crap out of him for a lot.
I think both guys got put over pretty good.
Oh yeah, this doesn't hurt Elgin at all.
No. Elgin hit all of the things that were all of the things. The only thing he didn't hit was the buckle bomb and the Elgin bomb.
Yeah, no buckle bomb, Elgin bomb.
Or the Mike Fly flow, which would have pretty much murdered anybody on the planet. But other than the gigantic finishers, he really got to put himself over, and Cody put himself over. It was a great match.
Yep. This made three really 3.5 plus star matches in a row.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then we got to my favorite match of the evening, the IWGP Jr. Heavyweight title, Hiromu the Time Bomb Takahashi versus the Time Splitter Kushida.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that until now. What kind of jerk am I?
Huh?
The Time Bomb versus Time Splitter?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
I've been chuckling every time I bring it up, and then you don't really react to it. It's pretty good.
Don't try and put yourself over like that. No one's that clever.
I have to put myself over sometimes. I did forget to press record on a podcast.
How many times now?
Once.
Don't lie to the people.
No, once. The other time it stopped recording. I definitely recorded it. I can send you the video if you want. Anyways, this was my favorite match. This was very, very heated. This feud has been incredibly well done. Kushida has gone through this transformation. He used to be a very happy-go-lucky Marty McFly type of deal. And Takahashi beat him in a competitive match and then absolutely squashed him.
Yeah.
Took his title, took his dignity.
Took his soul.
And then Kushida had to go through the Super Junior tournament, which he won. And he's back here. He's got a bit of a new look. He's a little bit more... He's still definitely Back to the Future, but he's less Marty McFly now.
I mean, the back of his jacket said Back to the Future, Marty McFly on it.
Yeah, I know. But, the real Marty McFly cosplay, if you will, portions of it are kind of fading into the background just a little bit.
Yeah.
As he gets more serious.
He doesn't have the gooch coming out and playing Doc Brown.
Yeah. He's more serious. He's less white meat babyface. And he's a little edgier. And it showed in this match because,
he's fucking pissed off.
Oh, yeah. Stiff. The match started, these two high-flying guys start off with just absolutely stiff chops, elbows, forearm shots to each other for, so long. And it was good. That's the thing. It doesn't sound like it should be good, but it was good.
Oh, man.
It was heated. There was some pizzazz to this match. There were some nice submission holds. A lot of going for the sunset bomb, which Time Bomb finally did hit and smashed Kushida into the floor, which Kushida sold like a boss because we thought he was dead. But on the replay, it actually shows he takes it real proper and then just sells the crap out of it.
If you never see the slow-mo replay, you'll swear to God that dude's just dead. That's it. That's all there is to it. That guy took too much centrifugal force. It impacted the back of his skull, and now he's dead. Admissible to a court of law. That man killed the other man. Done.
And
brilliant.
They worked the hoverboard lock a lot, and
a lot. Done.
And and this was also where Kushida started having those heel tendencies that we were talking about earlier, where
this was part 2.
He spat on Takahashi. He was taking some liberties with him. He was using the closed fist, and the crowd would react with boos to that. It's a complete transformation of his character, and I'm loving it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, this was definitely part 2 of the face, the slightly dark face. I don't want to say blackface. That would be racist. But
That
it's
might be racist.
Might be racist. But this was definitely chapter 2 of Face slightly healing it up, if not just straight healing it up for reasons undisclosed. Other than total pissed offedness.
And then Kushida ends this match the only way that I was going to be, I would accept the end of this match to be. He made Takahashi tap out to the hoverboard block. Oh.
Yeah, but he went full Pete Dunne on that one.
He did. He's like fucking with the hand. He's like, this is like the most heel hoverboard lock you'll ever see.
The healer board lock.
It was great, and I'm loving where this feud could be potentially going. Then we went on to a match that I'm not happy with. I'm not happy with it for a lot of reasons. This was Minoru Suzuki versus Hiroki Goto in a lumberjack death match.
Let's just state for the record right up front. The actions between the two main participants were fine, if not really damn good.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of shit that happened around it. Like, basically, this was going back to Extreme Backlash, where the gimmick hurt the match.
Yeah.
And the psychology behind it, like, how many times did we point out that Ishii was being roughly handled by Zack Sabre, I weigh 75 pounds, Jr.?
He was manhandled by every one of the Suzuki Gun lumberjacks except for Kanemaru.
Yeah. He was handled like a child. This is the
by Desperado, by Taka Michinoku, by Zack Sabre Jr.
Zack Sabre Jr. twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're having a lumberjack match and you have, let me just think of a proper substitute here, Steven Regal, Fit Finlay, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you have Fit Finlay getting absolutely handled by Ellsworth, that's not a thing.
I wouldn't use Ellsworth. I'd use like Gregory Helm, Shannon Moore, that type of thing.
Shannon Moore, I can grab onto that. So if you have Fit Finlay being physically nigh on to sexually abused by Shannon Moore, that's not a thing. That full stop, end of sentence. You're wrong. Get out. Don't ever come back.
And they did that like 4 different times.
Yes,
that was the problem.
The only person who didn't get out there and sexually molest the Stone Pitbull, the guy who you're putting over as your giant tough ass bastard, was Tai Chi, because he was busy.
And Kanemaru.
Tai Chi things.
The Kanemaru and him were never working together.
Well, whatever.
But yeah, like I noticed it during like the first like exchange of pleasantries, shall we say, between the lumberjacks, where the Chaos Lumberjacks all got their butts kicked. Basically one-on-one, and Taka Michinoku is beating up Ishii, and I'm just like, I know this really isn't a big part of the match, like it really isn't. The interaction between the lumberjacks should be a side quest, but it was so bad in this match throughout that it became part of the match.
Yeah.
Like, the Chaos Lumberjacks were just jobbed out repetitively. And we're talking about Yoshihashi, we're talking about we're talking about basically the trios team that Chaos put out there in the gauntlet match, and Jado getting just absolutely manhandled and like being outthought repetitively. Like, the thing here is, like, I get that in a lumberjack match, the heel lumberjacks are always kind of at a somewhat of an advantage because they're heels, they'll cheat.
Yeah,
but you have Yanu and you have Jado on the other team. Like, while they are quotation marks faces, they are dirty players.
Mm-hmm.
They are cheaters. That is entirely Yanu's gimmick.
Yep. Dude, I so want Jado, Gedo, and Yano. Whoa. Can you imagine the trios team they would make? No one would get that title ever.
No.
Bruno Sammartino can suck my dick. They'd hold that for like 15 years.
No, one of them might die before that. Especially with all the cocaine jokes we're making about Ghetto.
Yeah, maybe Ghetto. Maybe Jetto. This match was the equivalent of trying an unfamiliar wine. And you have a drink, and it's good. And you have another drink, and it's still alright. And you have another drink, and at this point, you're kind of not really digging it. Maybe it's, you're noticing some things you didn't notice the first couple times.
There's a little aftertaste, maybe. A little bit of a different bouquet that's not really working for you.
It's just got way too much raspberry in there for you. Mm-hmm. It's got too much jam in your palate. But too bad, because you've got a whole bottle to drink. And you get to drink it now and get it out of the way, or
you're going to torture yourself for like a month.
Yeah. So this was just one of those kind of things where it didn't really work. It got in its own way, but they had to complete the match.
Yeah. The only member of Chaos that didn't come off like a jobber in this was Yoshihashi. They let him do some stuff, and that will play into where this match eventually went, which was Taichi coming out to interfere in the match. And the other thing was I never could grasp what the rules of the match were. It wasn't no DQ because the referee kept trying to enforce some level of order, but he also didn't DQ for things that should have been a DQ.
Yeah, this was like Extreme Backlash all over again.
Yeah.
Can we just refer to Extreme Rules as extremely confusing from now on? Because that's what this was. Like, I know what a lumberjack match is.
I know what a death match is.
I know what a death match is. This had sort of parts of both, but not really. So, I don't, This again, it got in its own way. This was, I would say, even with the undercard match taken into account, this may have been the weakest match, but it wasn't because of the two guys involved. It was because it was just overbooked. This was overbooked to the point where it could be on Raw.
I don't even think it was necessarily overbooking, just bad booking. Like,
yeah, well,
you can take almost the same level of booking and make it good. But Taichi comes out. We get the time hammer spot, of course, because he always steals the freaking ring hammer or bell hammer, I should say. And Suzuki eventually wins. Taichi and him have a kerfuffle, a scuffle, a moment. And Suzuki says, "You want the belt? You can come get the belt." And my God, please let Yoshihashi take the belt off of Suzuki.
Yeah.
Two reasons. Number one, I want that belt off Suzuki because Suzuki's a piece of shit. Like, he should be paying some level of forfeit for his behavior. I'm sorry. I understand in wrestling what is, quote, morally correct is not what we consider to be morally correct. Case in point, JBL. But there should be some repercussions for his repetitive taking of liberties with the boys. Two, Yoshihashi's never held any gold in his career.
That's surprising.
And that is really confusing because he is really good. He is Yoshihashi, baby.
Indeed, Yoshi Hash Brown, and then there's who else do I have on the Breakfast Club? We had Yoshi Hash Brown. We had what was Alberto El Hamon.
Alberto El Hamon, yeah.
And there was another guy with not Yoshihashi. There's who was the guy on commentary that was really bad?
The
Bullet Club Hunter.
Oh, Yoshitatsu.
Yeah, Tater Tatsu. So we had Tater Tatsu, Yoshi Hash Brown, and Alberto El Hamon. That was going to be the Breakfast Club.
So this was the low point of the card because we had a mess of a match with, my opinion, the wrong winner. That's real.
Yeah.
Really all there's to say about that. So, moving on, Hiroyoshi Tanahashi challenging Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. If Tanahashi wins, this would be the end of our little competition because we had the same pick in the main event, and Byron was up by 1. So my hope for a draw was Naito retaining, and it didn't happen.
Exactly. I am the best.
It was a really good match, although I would have liked it better. Okay, so basically the kind of main point of the match, if you will, was the quote bicep injury that Tanahashi had. He was out there with a compression sleeve, but nothing about what he was doing in terms of work suggested that he was injured. So that was the one thing that was kind of bugging me. If you're going to do an injury angle, do an injury angle.
Yeah, I would like to state for the record that I had heard that mentioned in a couple of different podcasts. Stephen Larson made mention of it, and I believe Wrestle Talk made mention of it. That this was actually, like, they made mention of it as it was a legit injury. So I know Steve predicted against it from the Larson show because of this injury that was supposed to be legit. When he came out with the compression sleeve, I was immediately, shall we just say, suspicious.
Yeah, because a torn bicep, you wouldn't really do a compression sleeve. I mean, it'll help a little bit, but it's not going to help enough. And you sure as heck aren't going to be out there throwing like uppercuts and chops and stuff with that arm, like almost exclusively.
Uppercuts. Yeah, he was throwing a lot of overhand shots with that. And I, you'd mentioned it while we were watching it, and I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, there's that, but for kayfabe reasons, I mean, it flashes it in front of the eyes of everybody watching. So, I mean, it puts it over from anybody who doesn't have a medical background. That'll put it over as not a legit injury, but it'll put it over as more of a visible injury, and therefore you sympathize more with the babyface.
The only thing is, I think one that's kind of unneeded for this particular match, because the way Naito has treated the belt, I mean, I don't think you need any more like face sympathy. I think it's there.
I would disagree, just based on the amount of Naito chants there were. Like, Naito's over.
I agree with that, but even with the arm thing, you still had those, and like the problem wasn't that people didn't sympathize with Tanahashi. The problem is that Naito is that good, and it's almost kind of time for, dare I say it, a face turn for him, because
maybe
he's fantastic, and the crowd realizes that and has really swung in his favor.
I think if you keep him just the way he is for the rest of his career, he'd probably do fantastic. I don't know if there's a real reason to turn him one way or even darker the other way.
My point is, though, is that if you're... And this is kind of the WWE Roman Reigns issue to a degree. I don't know if there's anything you can do to stop the crowd from cheering for Naito.
No.
Without having Naito, like, suck. Like, as long as Naito is being as good as he is, this is just a fact you have to kind of accept.
I mean, you could have him stomp out a bag of kittens in the middle of the ring.
Well, I mean, without being, like, murderer, complete piece, like... Yeah, without having him like spend a lot of time in a dark room with Minoru Suzuki learning how to be a complete piece of shit, I don't think you have anything here. So you're kind of fighting this uphill battle that it made the match a little bit worse because the commentary would continuously reference the injured arm, and there would really be no play off of it, next to none. Yeah. Like Tanahashi would use the arm just as if it was perfectly healthy. And Naito didn't even really go after it all that much. So
he did, but
but like no more than Naito will traditionally go after people's arms.
Just because Naito doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. So, and like case in point, you're going for this like face sympathy thing, and there's a bit where the crowd is chanting Naito mostly, and the announcers have to kind of go, I hear a little bit of Naito chants, but I hear a lot more Tanahashi chants. Like, no, you really don't. But anyways, Tanahashi goes over, and you know what? The crowd was really happy when he went over, so this is not a problem with Tanahashi. But
No.
it is the point that it felt like that component of the match didn't really add anything and actually took a little bit away. No, nothing significant, but a little bit away.
Yeah. I think that both of these guys were equally popular, which says a lot about Naito more than it does about Tanahashi, because Tanahashi, if you're not familiar, and honestly, I haven't watched that much, really hardly any of his career, but according to reports and commentary, he's essentially The Rock or John Cena of Japan. So, if you got people cheering, would this not make Naito essentially the Stone Cold of Japan?
To a degree. Like, I think this is the third and fourth most over guy in the company.
Yeah.
And that's just all there is to it. Then we move on to our main event, our 6-star classic.
See.
Kenny Omega challenging for the IWGP heavyweight title against Kazuchika Okada. The Cleaner versus the Rainmaker.
Mm-hmm.
And
honestly,
I loved it.
It's been like, how long have we been recording, or how long have we been trying to record now?
This video is now up to 1 minute, or 1 hour and 1 minute.
Okay, so we've been trying to record for like an hour and a half now, and I still don't know what to say. This match was all of the things. Everybody contributed to this. If this isn't a 5-star match, it's a crime against humanity. If it's not a 6-star match, I'm confused and I need some justification.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, like I said, I don't know what to say. This match was fantastic. Beyond fantastic. I need some time to digest it. Everybody did their part. And
except for Bad Luck Fale.
Except for Bad Luck Fale, because literally the only thing missing in this match is for at some point for Bad Luck Fale to whip off the sunglasses and get emotional. That was it. That was all that was missing.
Well, and we've been through this. I would have preferred to have a couple of members of Chaos come down, because towards the end of the match, the entirety of Bullet Club, at least that was theoretically there, like, they were missing Chase Owens and they were missing Marty Scurll, who, probably weren't in the building.
I would not have paid Chase Owens to be outside of Ohio.
Like, Chase, probably not even in the country. Chase Owens might be living in the country at this point, just because most of his work has been in Japan.
Because he can't get booked anywhere else.
But you're missing the only two Bullet Club members missing are the guys who are not on the show. Cody comes out, he wants to throw the towel in, and the Young Bucks are pleading with him and physically preventing him from throwing the towel in, because Kenny has had his ass kicked. He's gone through a table partially at this point. We'll get more into the spots, but we're just talking about Bad Luck Fale, so might as well transition to this bit. Everyone comes down, and the facial expressions from the Bullet Club as they're watching this, like Adam Page, aka Hangman Page, was fantastic. I'm marking out for him. Cody Rhodes is doing a great job. The Gorillas of Destiny, the Young Bucks were great all match long, being the cheerleaders.
Cody, let's hold on. Cody Rhodes was all of the things for this match. He was the linchpin. He was the fulcrum. He was the swing set. He
was the payoff.
He was everything that went back and forth with this match played off his face. He was the best. And Hangman Page was also the best. The Young Bucks are... Is it unfair to think that the Young Bucks, between the 6-star match and this match, were... I'm trying to find the right word. The impetus, Accelerant? Let's use the word accelerant. Where is it unfair to say that without the Young Bucks, the 6-star match doesn't get his extra star? Is it unfair to say that if this also becomes 6 stars, that this is not a 6-star match? Is it unfair to say that?
Man, that is a tough question. It really is. You don't want to say that have the Young Bucks at ringside are what made this a 6-star match, but I can't conclusively say it wasn't, because they really did. Because during the downtime, whenever they were both down selling, like after the table spot, which we'll talk about, like the Young Bucks did, in all seriousness, add a lot to this. Because they're arguing with the referee. They're never getting involved in the match. They're never being heels interference.
Interfere even once.
They're being Kenny Omega's 2 best buddies in the world. Like, that's what they're doing. They're there to support him. They're there to argue for his rights to a degree. Like, when the table was out there, because Okada set up the table, they were talking about, get the table out of here, because that's cheating.
That is cheating.
And again, face going dark. Okada had some dark stuff here.
Yeah, like did some stuff.
I mean, the table, there was some stomping, there was some just kind of like this almost Terminator no-sell bit where Kenny Omega's on his knees, up, like giving him overhand chops, just looking absolutely desperate, like almost, I don't want to say pathetic because that's going too far, but like absolutely desperate and confused as to why this big 6'4" man was still beating his ass. Like that was it. And Omega's just staring down him like the full Terminator expressionless face. I'm like, oh god, Omega's gone dark. And lots of Rainmakers, lots of teased one-winged angels.
How many Rainmakers were there? Like
there was like 6.
Was it 6?
Yeah, I think it was 6.
There's a lot.
Omega did finally hit the one-winged angel, but Okada got his foot on the ropes to break the 3 count. Like I said, it would have been the only thing I would have had that would have made this any better. Literally the only thing would have been for a couple of the Chaos guys to come out and give a contrast to the Bullet Club cheerleading section. That would have been fantastic. Because all we had was Gato, who was great. He was yelling so loud, I don't know how he had a voice left. Cocaine is a hell of a drug, I guess.
Honestly, I don't know how I have a voice left. It felt like I was in this match. The emotional nonsense that went back and forth, and me yelling, "Dude hit a poison Rana." That sends me over the edge.
That did send him over the edge.
I thought I blew my voice out, just going poison Rana. It was delightful and painful. But I could totally, if they completely surrounded the ring with an equal amount of dudes from each faction and were just cheering on everybody, that would send the crowd into apoplectic shock.
Also, just from
in the best way.
Just from a booking standpoint here for a moment, booking logic, which I like there to be. The Bullet Club are heels. They could interfere in this match. So you just even like I wouldn't have had any kind of like interaction between the Chaos and the Bullet Club guys, but I would have had the Chaos guys out there, and the impetus for that is Bullet Club could interfere.
Yep.
So I mean, there's your reason. So it just seemed kind of illogical that there wouldn't be something there to counter that.
Yep.
And Don Callis did a great job also selling that. Like he kept pointing out that Cody Rhodes still had the towel. He's like, get the towel away from Cody. I'm like, the whole time I'm going, is Cody Rhodes going to throw this towel in?
He was all over there. Don Callis, let's just say Don Callis was fantastic.
He had a few moments of what I like to like. I've been over this before. I don't like the heel commentator. Like he's heel to an unreasonable level. And there were a couple of moments there, particularly when he was getting on Ghetto, like, shut up, Ghetto, like, whatever. It's like if you're defending the Young Bucks, and to be honest, Kevin Kelly did the same kind of problem here, where he's, like, faced to an obnoxious level, where he's, like, Ghetto's yelling, and the Young Bucks are yelling. They're basically doing the same thing, and the two announcers are both, like, taking, shut up, Ghetto, get the Young Bucks out of there, and it's like, okay, no, like, I could have done without that, but the commentary team here did their great job. The ringside guys did their job. All the cameramen being there gave it that huge big benefit feel. The two guys in the ring did an absolutely amazing job. This was incredible.
At one point, there was how many photographers? I'm going to say 10 photographers.
I'm going to say like a dozen, probably.
Let's just say a dozen photographers that were on, like, basically crowded at one corner of the ring, watching the two guys on the outside, and the Young Bucks are up on the apron behind that ring post, trying to get through, like, ref, what the fuck? Like, you can't let this happen. They can't get through because there's so many photographers.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome.
Yeah. It went to a time limit draw. We actually haven't even talked about the result. And this was amazing.
This was the best.
This is so good.
If Joe versus Punk 60-minute time limit draw was 5 stars,
this was better. This was better.
This was way better. If this isn't 5 stars, I need an in-depth explanation. If this isn't 6 stars, I'm still okay with it. But this is a minimum 5. This has to be. I don't.
My deal would be I need to know why the prior match they had was a 6-star match and this one wasn't, because I don't see how that one was better than this. This was better. Almost in every way. The in-ring action is very similar. I take it or leave it on both of them. Very close. The outside elements here were so much better, and I just thought that the logic of the match, the ring psychology was better here. There was more appropriate selling, because in the 6-star match, there were a couple of moments where I would be like, you shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah. And let's also highlight Snapdragons, like all the Snapdragons. If anybody wants to talk shit about the amount of drop kicks, I would like to also highlight the amount of Snapdragons. Mm-hmm. Because a Snapdragon suplex could fucking murder you. End of story. I'm not talking about like, oh, your character could get hurt. I'm talking about it could end a human life. No bullshit. You're dropping a guy on literally the back of his head with no hope of rolling out of that. So if you want to counterbalance drop kicks with Snapdragon suplex, you've got a conversation. If you want to just dismiss the match based on drop kicks, you're an idiot.
Because Okada does land a lot of drop kicks. A lot of drop kicks. I will put the card on the table. I don't think I've ever seen this many drop kicks in a match.
I actually, you know what? I would like to go back and do a tally on how many Rainmakers versus how many Snapdragon suplexes were landed. I will bet that it's close. I
think more Rainmakers got landed, actually.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't dispute that at all. I wouldn't, if he landed 2 more Rainmakers than Kenny Omega did Snapdragon suplexes, I probably think you're accurate. But I think it's pretty close.
Mm-hmm. If I really need to nitpick, I think he probably landed too many Rainmakers for it to not work. I think he did about the same amount against Suzuki. Well, I think just like on the build up here, the Rainmaker is kind of did as a finisher. I think it's become a signature at this point. And I have no problem with that if they book Okada's future matches accordingly. Where that's maybe a setup move or something as opposed to a finisher. But I do believe that's maybe the one long-term implication of this is that the Rainmaker is really hard to sell to me as a finisher now.
I think you're wrong, but I think you're only wrong in context with this match and with maybe a few others. Because when he hits the Rainmaker, that's the finish. But when he hits the Rainmaker against Kenny Omega, that's a different story. And when he hits the Rainmaker against Suzuki
and Shibata,
that's a different. Well, yeah, but you're talking about 2 legit hard asses and Kenny Omega, who you're trying to put over as the next big ass hard ass.
Oh no, I'm not saying never kick out of a Rainmaker. That's silly. But I mean, like, we had 6 failed Rainmakers here. We probably had a similar number against Suzuki. We had 3, I think, against Shibata. So it's becoming a depowered move. Not that he could never use it as a finisher again, but that it needs to be probably treated as less of a move now, just going forward.
I would just set it up different. I would, he does the Tombstone Pile Driver. He does a bunch of other things. I would do all of those things first and then hit the Rainmaker at the end as the exclamation point.
I could absolutely deal with that, yeah.
At this point, he's trying to hit Omega with the Rainmaker and get him the fuck out of there, which doesn't work because it's Omega. So, the 3 people that you were talking about here that he's hit a lot of Rainmakers against, those are badass motherfuckers. And not easy to put away. So, I mean, how many Rainmakers did he hit against Fale? Like 1, 2?
I think it was
2 max. 2 absolute max. So, I think it's a move where you can gauge where the company's going, maybe not so much how the match is going.
Fair enough, I suppose. And then the other thing is that, admittedly, where these 2 guys go from here is, what do you do with Omega?
I don't know.
Well, Cody's having his bit. Do we agree that, from a business standpoint, the Cody Okada, that's the place to go?
Yeah, for North American market, yeah, you have to. Especially in California, where they're doing all their cards, so...
Mm-hmm. So, there are some long-term implications of this match that could be interesting and potentially negative. But the match itself, absolutely fantastic. We'll touch just kind of real quick on the press conference. I guess pretty much all the Chaos guys give Okada the big handshake, the pat on the back. They're all drinking some brews. Interestingly, absent are Goto and Romero. We did have a theory that perhaps they had to go to a medical facility after their respective matches, because Romero did take some considerable abuse with the apron bombs and stuff, and Goto was in a match with Suzuki, and I don't think anything more needs to be said about potential for injury. So maybe that could be it, or maybe that could be brought into a storyline. Never know. Could be interesting. And then Cody. This part I didn't much care for. The Cody coming in promo, I didn't do much for me. It really didn't. Like, it didn't make a lot of logical sense.
I think that Cody's still developing his kind of persona.
Like,
and
I kind of get
the stepping stone.
I kind of get the content of get off the island, become a true international superstar. I'm the guy who can do that for you to a degree.
Yeah.
I get that, but this man just had a absolutely fantastic match. The complete lack of... And, like, while he was out there, he obviously respected what Okada was doing, because he wanted to throw the fucking towel in for Omega. I mean, to be that hostile didn't really work for me. But that's just my opinion.
I don't really disagree, but then again, you have to be a heel. You have to get in the guy's face. You have to get yourself over. You have to, if you're talking about straight up like making the people believe that you're going to get this match, you have to do those. You have to do exactly what he did. He spit beer in the guy's face after the toughest match of his career. You have to do it. That's how you get a match in total kayfabe terms.
Well, I think in total kayfabe terms, Cody Rhodes can get a match because he's fucking Cody Rhodes. American Nightmare.
He's just another guy. He's an upper mid-card guy.
Oh, he's more than that. They treat him as more than that. When he signed and had his first match, it was a big deal. You can also look at where he's being positioned on the card. Like, he's above title matches. Not singles titles, in fairness. They're tag titles, but...
He's an upper mid-card guy. He fought Big Mike. And Big Mike is a former Intercontinental Champion that couldn't get the Intercontinental Championship back. So, at this point, Big Mike''s an upper mid-card guy. He's not a championship guy, He's not getting a shot at Okada. So, from like a total storyline standpoint, you have to step in and take your best shot and annoy the shit out of the guy or anger him enough to the point where he's like, "Fuck you! All right, let's do it."
Why not just point out that you can make him an international superstar, though?
Because why would the Rainmaker care?
Because it means money?
He's already rich. He's the Rainmaker.
Sir, think about professional athletes, millionaires, CEOs of companies, etc. No one's ever rich enough not to want money. No one.
Yeah, but they're not cool.
Every year when I'm doing taxes, we're gonna break into my real life here. Every year when I do taxes, I get some dude who's making six figures comes in to get his taxes done. And what is his biggest question? How do I pay less taxes? How do I pay less to the government? How do I get more for myself? More money for anyone, as long as you're not talking about an immoral thing, is a motivation that everyone can buy.
True, but you're talking about pro wrestling where he's rich. He doesn't give a fuck.
Ted DiBiase was motivated by doing things for money, sir, and he was the $1 Million Man.
Well, he was motivated by throwing money around.
And I mean, granted, he's a heel, but if you want to go through another route, not that this was a great example, but Adam Pac-Man Jones was kind of a face when he came into Impact, motivated by money. Everyone is, at the end of the day, motivated by more money. Or if you want to get something deeper, what's better for New Japan as a company other than to achieve mainstream recognition in North America and become even bigger? So you're doing this not for yourself per se, but you're doing this for New Japan. You're doing this for Chaos. You're doing this for Ghetto. You're doing this for all these people who have believed in you and have helped you.
It is important to do things for Ghetto.
It is very important to do things for Ghetto. Like hookers, egg blow.
Whoa. I don't think Ghetto requires you to do those things. I think Ghetto would do those things himself.
He requires you to procure those things for him. But I feel there were a lot of ways to do this. And you know what? If this built it up and this makes it happen, and I think this is going to work out anyways. Like this is me being the nitpicking person I am. Like this will work. Cody Rhodes versus Okada should generate mainstream attention, should build the brand in New Japan in North America, making it a bit more of an international brand as opposed to a domestic powerhouse, and make it probably a more attractive option for even ex-WWE superstars to go to. We were talking about how we would love to see Damien Sandow in New Japan.
I want to see Damien Sandow in New Japan being The Miz. Better than The Miz could ever be in his entire career, just to show The Miz that he, at one point, may have had potential. Not anymore. We
even talked about like a Ryback Big Mike Elgin match being a fantastic idea. And neither of us are fans of Ryback, but that would be great.
Ryback versus Ishii.
We loved Billy Gunn when he was doing his New Japan stuff.
True. That is hilarious. Hit me! Suplex me! I'm going to suplex you! You know, some of these people can speak English, right, Billy?
I think Billy was just making fun of WWE shot calling. I think that was a parody of John Cena.
That very much could be.
So better for New Japan. It's just better all around. This was a fantastic card. There was not a single bad match on the card. There was bad booking on the card with the deathmatch lumberjack match, but this was all good. You had what I think you and I think of as a 6-star match. We had some really good stuff between Takahashi and Kushida. Cody versus Elgin was fantastic. War Machine, God was fantastic.
Yep.
Young Bucks and Roppongi Vice was fantastic.
Double yep.
The Gauntlet match was what it was, and the two opening matches were fine. 2.5 to maybe 2 3/4 maybe.
Listen, for the record, I think if Kushida Time Bomb should get 5 stars, and the main event was better than that. So that's my opinion. I ain't Meltzer, but we'll find out in a week or two.
Mm-hmm. We await that, and that's all for this one. We've recorded one Lucha Underground review up to episode 18. We've watched up to episode 19. We have 2 more to go. I put up 18, pardon me. We've watched 19. We're still waiting to watch 20 and 21, which we'll do very shortly, and then have that out. We'll be caught up on Lucha Underground and New Japan, and it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. I think is what it comes down to.
Truth. Yeah,
even WWE is putting forth actually a reasonably good effort right now.
Sometimes. We were gonna watch Lucha today, but then Dominion. I didn't know what time Dominion was kicking off, so I didn't know.
The time differential always kind of
exactly. So we were gonna watch Lucha, and then Dominion happened, so we're gonna do that, obviously. And Mio is like, "Oh my god, it's like 7 hours past your bedtime. What are you still doing up, sir?"
It's not past my bedtime. This is about a half hour from now is when I go to bed normally.
So what you're saying is I maybe go and have a snack, and then we could watch a couple Lucha episodes, and then no, probably not.
I think at this point we couldn't do Lucha justice just after having watched that. Like I think all other wrestling right now would absolutely suck.
Yeah. So I was really, full disclosure, really looking forward to Raw tomorrow. Now I don't know how you do anything right.
I'm looking forward to Raw a lot because I'm hyped on wrestling right now. I just am completely prepared to be disappointed.
Brock Lesnar's supposed to show up. Joe Lesnar. McMahon's gonna fuck that up because he's a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna try and give it a fair shot. I'm prepared for the worst, so here's hoping. Here comes the best. But after Dominion, Lucha's just gonna be kind of pretty good, if not just kind of okay. And WWE is gonna be.
This admittedly does point out, I think, a problem to a degree in some independent wrestlers' minds that I'm going to throw out here. I'm going to sound like Al Snow here for a moment, but this is why you don't have a 5-star match to open a show.
Yeah.
Because everything after it actually suffers.
Yeah.
And this is why the main event should be the main event.
Yep.
And
if you know a match has the potential to be the best on the card, that's your main event. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, unless you have something else on the card that's like that close, like fingers really close together, you need a microscope to see the difference, sort of deal.
If you were to redo the card order for Dominion, you might put the Time Bomb versus Time Splitter match before the main event, but
I would have a match between it because I kind of don't like the idea of the second best match. I want that breathe match.
Honestly, I think they did a perfect job because they put 2 matches between that and the main event, right? Yeah.
Yes, they did. The open weight and the Intercontinental.
The 2 matches between that were not up to that hype, and not up to the hype after that match. So I think actually that gave the perfect amount of buffer time between a great match and a classic match.
Yep. Only thing I would do, I would swap Guerrillas of Destiny versus War Machine with Cody and Elgin. Because
fair enough. Lead up.
It suffered a little bit being like tag team match after tag team match sort of thing. Because some of what you were going to do was already done to a degree. And having a singles match in between there would have perhaps let it breathe just that little bit more. And that little bit better. That maybe quarter star better. So that's all for tonight. This is, I believe, the longest podcast we've ever done.
True.
And I hope everyone enjoyed it. And if you didn't enjoy Dominion, I
You have no soul.
I don't know. I want to talk to you because I want to know why. Like, I want to know. I want to know what your problem was.
If you didn't enjoy this match, or if you didn't enjoy this pay-per-view, I don't want to hear from you. I don't care. Your reasoning is flawed. You're wrong. And you should probably go vote for Trump.
Ooh. It's going to anger the Trump voters now.
I'm fine with it. I mean, they don't have spelling skills, so it's going to be hilarious.
I'm a little more open-minded than my co-host, but I'm not going to lie, I will be a little bit hostile to someone who didn't like the show, because you will need a really good reason.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's all. Enjoy. We got WWE this week. We got the usual shows, and we'll probably handle our last Lucha preview before we're back on track with the live stuff with episode 22. So,
indeed.
Enjoy it, everybody. It's a good night.
Shout out to the Marmalade Soldier, Chris.